My name is Vimal. I am basically from Hyderabad. I'd like to thank HDFC Credila giving me an opportunity to talk to you all. Uh, this session is all about future education in UK. Yes, I have prepared a very short, simple, and informative PowerPoint presentation for you. I know most of you would have explored career in UK or studies in UK, but I'm sure whatever information you would have explored. This information would value add to you. Coming into this, the whole purpose of this, session is in my 7-8 years of career into education, or particularly 5-6 of career into overseas education. I counsel a lot of students, parents, so we discuss about it. But in last few intake, wherein after this PSW post study work option launch in UK, most of students are considering to apply for UK. Uh, but when we discuss with the students, I see a lot of students are quite confused. Confused in a sense what they are exactly looking at in university, what program they want to apply, requirement, all those things. So here I just try to address or to give some information which will certainly help you going forward, and I'm sure it will give you some sort of informative knowledge about your applications, universities, what point you should consider, what are the eligibility, all those things which will help you in your future applications. See, when we talk about UK, most of the students, they only know about something like London. UK is all about London. Actually, UK, it's a there are four areas or countries that consists UK. England, obviously the capital city is London. Then Scotland, the capital city is Edinburgh. Wales, capital city is Cardiff. And Northern Ireland, capital city is Belfast. I hope most of you would have known this area, because in London we have so many universities. In Edinburgh we have University of Edinburgh, Cardiff University, Belfast, all those universities, which is quite known. But yes, UK is consist of all these areas. Now coming into plan or studying in UK. UK universities are quite old. A lot of people would have known about a lot of UK universities. Um, so higher education in UK is basically divided into two levels. One is undergraduate, the second one is postgraduate. Undergraduate, yes, you know about the study. Postgraduate is including masters and PhD. Basically, undergraduate, if you look into UK, it's a 3 years program. 3 years program in London or Northern Ireland or in Wales. But when you apply for an undergraduate program, uh, particularly in Scotland, it's a 4 years program. Postgraduate is basically 1 year program in most of the universities, but nowadays few universities, they provide postgraduate programs like your with 1 year internship or a sandwich placement. That makes it a 2 years program. But postgraduate program, you have two type of programs. One is postgraduate by taught, postgraduate by research. That's how we apply for MAC, Masters in Science. That is a taught course. Then we apply for that is something called MRS, Masters by Research. That is a research program. So that's how you can choose your program based on your current education. When you talk about higher education in UK, that normally provided by public and private universities. When you look into UK, we very well know about a group of universities that is called as Russell Group of Universities. This Russell Group actually consists of Cambridge, Oxford, and few of the more known and top universities. It was earlier formed in the year of 1994, 1904. Originally, it started with 17 universities. Now there are 24, prestigious universities in Russell Group, and the basic focus is into research and academic achievements of Russell Group. Recently, UK government, they have started a new major which is called as Teaching Excellence Framework, TEF, which the focus is to uh, assess the whole standard and quality of teaching throughout all universities in UK. See, I spoke to a lot of students during their applications. I talk about their choices, why they have considered these universities. Most of the students, they are unaware of these things. I guess these are the few things that you should consider before applying to universities. like this TEF. TEF, each university they have been certified like TEF Gold, TEF Silver, or TEF Bronze. Like TEF Gold is all about outstanding. If a university is outstanding in terms of quality and teaching, they are certified with TEF Gold, and you can find it also in the university website. TEF Gold or TEF Silver. TEF Silver is about high quality. If any university is standard teaching is very good, they are certified with TEF Silver. TEF Bronze is all about satisfactory. And there is something called TEF Provisional, which is like those universities, those who are taking part into this TEF program, but they are yet to certify. That is into TEF Provisional. So most of the students, when you look at into your applications, you can look into these universities and they are TEF ranking. Actually, when you are looking at an application and you are looking at a quality degree, these rankings, I guess it value add you a lot. Now, if coming into university rankings, I'm sure most of you would have gone through the ranking. We have a QS World ranking, we have a Times ranking also. When it comes to US, university rankings in UK, like if you check it here, out of the QS ranking World 2020, 84 institutions are featuring into QS ranking, and out of that top, if you consider top 10, four are there. Oxford, which is currently in the fourth one, Cambridge is in seventh, University College London in eighth, and Imperial College in ninth. Apart of this, there is also I put in over here, like if you look into top 100, university rankings, if you go through QS World Ranking, out of that, 18 universities are from UK. So it signifies the quality of education and research itself in UK. So you people can consider out of it when you are looking for a university, or you are looking for a ranking, you are looking for a degree from a very good university, you can consider all these facts. Uh, See, why? What is the significant of ranking? Most of the students, when I interact with them, most of the parents, when I interact with them, when you ask student like why you have considered this university, why this particular program, why this particular area, students are quite blank in those areas. Like I have probably got answers like my friend is there, my relative is there. So these are okay to a certain extent. These are the points which you can consider, but still, ranking also matters a lot. You should understand, you should go and research yourself, you should find out what are the university wherein you are eligible, where you can apply. This also matters a lot. Now, coming into the admission requirements, yes, every university has its own requirement, but few of the requirements are academic requirements, wherein there is a particular, like most of the UK universities, if you have around 50-55%, you can apply. But most of the universities, like with backlogs also you can apply. Now, wherein few of the countries wherein backlogs, probably students those who have around 8-10 backlogs or 12 backlogs, few of the countries you cannot apply for some top universities, but here in UK you can really apply. And coming into English language requirement, yes, uh, IELTS or a PTE is required. Like if you're applying for Russell Group of universities, few universities required 6.5 with no band less than 6, or some of the universities they aim at 7 with no band less than 6.5. But apart of that, apart of this Russell Group of universities, there is a list of TEF Gold or TEF Silver certified universities wherein you can still apply without your IELTS. You can get IELTS waiver based on your intermediate marks. Basically, if you have a 70% average in your 12th English, most of the universities they waive your IELTS condition. So you can always look into these kind of universities. Some students wherein they have very less marks, for example, 60-65%. Still, few universities they provide pre-seasonal English program, which is of 4 weeks or of 6 weeks, wherein you can enroll yourself. Yes, individually you have to check it. Intake wise, they provide their information in the university's application form. You can check it and you can apply. Majority, if you talk about admissions or intakes, that is in September and January. This September is almost applications are closed. Most of the universities are into clearing right now. Yes, January 2021 is there. You can aim at January intake. You have quite a good time. You can spend some time on research. You can spend some time on shortlisting of universities. Then you can apply. Yes. When it comes to some top universities like Russell Group or any top universities, even though few top universities doesn't reflect or participate in Russell Group, but still they are very good universities. They have once in a year intake, maybe September or October. If you are aiming out those universities, you need to shortlist first. Like priorities are you need to find out your program, which program you intend to apply, then which area, which universities. If that particular university participates in September or October, accordingly you can plan your application ahead. Maybe you can this October or September is end, then you can probably apply for September or October 2021. You can start your application little early. Now, coming into tuition fees, when you are applying for, most of the universities, the tuition fees varies as per universities. If you're applying for an undergraduate program, which is roughly around, 10,000 pounds to 16,000 pounds per year, this is an, approximate fees. This is not the exact one. The exact one varies as per the universities. Now, undergraduate program, if you're applying, universities normally accept application through UCAS portal. Like there is a deadline, you need to make it an early application, wherein universities consider your application, then they consider the scholarship and other criteria as well. For few of the universities, they also accept direct application for undergraduate program. But most of the universities, yes, now they are accepting through UCAS. UCAS is basically a portal wherein they facilitate the application for undergraduate program. And this is called as University and College Admission Service, UCAS. For PG, it is you can apply directly. There are some universities wherein you can submit their application with the portal, or you can take help from any certified consultant. PG for postgraduate, the tuition fees varies mostly in between 14,000 to 25,000 pounds per year. 14,000 and 25,000, there is a big difference. But if you get into a Russell Group University, the tuition fees varies somewhere around 18,000 to 25,000 or 26,000 pounds per year. Otherwise, most of the top or good universities, you can find it in a range of 14 to 18,000 pounds per year. Now here, few universities, those who are providing 2 years program, as I said, for masters, the university provides like with a sandwich program, like 1 year study, 1 year internship, or a placement year. So placement year, this is purely a tuition fees. This doesn't include your placement year fees. Universities, based on your placement, they charge, that is nominal, but still they do charge in your second year. But this is what the approximate tuition fees for UG and PG. Now, this is one of the very important part. I have seen people like our students during their applications, when they apply to any university, they never consider or they never think about applying for a funding. When a few of the universities wherein you are applying, let's say universities, for example, universities, your tuition fees is around 18,000 pounds. But still those universities also provide funding in a sense, in form of early bird discounts or a scholarship or brochures. Early bird discounts in a sense, few universities wherein you applied, you got your offer letter, and you have paid early to secure your seat. They provide early bird discounts that varies around 500 pounds to 1,000 pounds. It's small but still quite substantial. Scholarships, again, universities, based on universities, there are different scholarships available, 1,000 pounds to 3,000 pounds or 50% of the tuition fees. Most of the universities, they you have to go through an interview before you secure a scholarship. Again, in a range of 1,000 pounds to 2,000 pounds is quite common when you apply for scholarship. Look into that. When you are applying for it, just find it out whether scholarship options are available or not. Contact the concerned person or a career counselor to apply for a scholarship. Bursaries, student bursaries are also available. This is mostly available for mass student, wherein 1,000 pounds is most of the students in current scenarios are providing bursaries. Here, one thing I mentioned or I would like to highlight is loans. Loans is one of the important factor that you can consider. I've seen students in past wherein the student is very much interested. Academic track record is very good. He or she got IELTS, they have applied education loans. Because if you see, like in India, 100 students applying for abroad studies, probably 75 students are depending on loan. So loan, be it education loan or any loan, is a quite a major factor deciding for students going abroad. So here, most of the students, they drop at last because their loans got rejected. That is quite bad. But at the same time, I would advise, there are certain loans which is available in UK also. If you're applying for some top universities, you can get education loan from UK itself. So explore those things in advance. If, let's say, there are, as you know, back in India, loans depend on a lot of factors. For example, civil score, one factor, financial health for parents, and liabilities and assets. These are also one of the factors that banks decide on it. But still, if you are not getting a loan, if you're applying for some top universities in UK, you can get loans from there, wherein you can secure your admissions, and you can you need not to drop your dream for going and studying abroad. Yes, uh, for international students, part-time job while being at UK is always available. Now, currently, they're allowing 20 hours per week that any student can work over there. So you can look into a perfect, you can from if you are going through loan, or you are getting loan from there, you can pay it from your job, or you can strike a balance in between both the things. Now coming into the most important thing, that is called as visa process. See here, in most of the countries, wherein when you are applying for a visa, for example, if you are looking for US, Canada, or any other, Australia, there lot of things come into factor when you are applying for visa. For example, income tax return should be there, or Form 16 of parents. Fund should be old fund, it should be in account. Or some countries, they require for a CA, chartered accountant report, CE report, police verification, all those things are required. But when it comes to UK, the visa process is quite simple. It's very simple for any student. First thing is that the visa, in order to file visa, which is called as tier 4 category visa, there are certain things required. First thing is CAF letter. CAF letter is basically an acceptance from the university in that program. When you apply, you get an offer letter. You make a payment to accept your offer letter. Then university offers you a CAF letter to file your visa. That is your acceptance with the university. Second one, you need to show funding. Funding here, like uh, let's say your tuition fees is around £14,000, and you have paid. Most of the UK universities are, in order to accept your offer letter, they're asking 50%, or few universities they're asking for 75% of your tuition fees. Let's assume that you have paid 50% of your tuition fees. So your tuition fees is 14,000 pounds. You have paid 50%, that means 7,000 pounds. So you need to show the rest of the 7,000 pounds plus living expenses during your visas. So living expenses has been categorized. If you are studying in London, your living expenses is approximately 1,265 pounds per month. So you need to show 1 year living expenses, which is roughly around, into 9. You have to multiply into 9. Actually, for living expenses in UK, you need to multiply into 9, not into 12. So that roughly around 11,385 pounds living expenses you need to show. So for visa, you need to show your rest of the tuition fees plus, if you are in London, 11,385 pounds. That fund you need to show. If you have applied in a university which is out of London, then you need to, per your living expenses will reduce to 1,015 pounds per month. That is annually around 9,135 pounds. So, which is less than London. So this particular fund, this living expenses, you can show in form of either in savings bank or in fixed deposit. And this fund can be shown in student account or in parents account. But one point you need to notice here, or you need to note here, if you are showing in savings bank or a fixed deposit in form of fixed deposit, this fund should be 28 days old. That means this fund should be there in your account for last 28 consecutive days in order to consider for visa. Okay. Otherwise, you can show in form of education loan from different banks. There is a list of banks, which is accepted for embassy. You can find it in from the website of Home Office. In general, most of the cooperative banks or Grameen banks, those loan letters are not accepted by the embassy, but still you can find the complete list in the through in their website. Or you got a sponsorship letter, maybe a loan from UK or a sponsorship or a scholarship that you can submit it. The third one is TB test report. You need to do a TB test. There are list of enrolled panel of centers wherein you can do your test. You need to just visit there and get your test done. These all things is required to file your visa or to consider for filing your visa. Out of the whole thing, caste letter is more important. This is provided by the university. You need to check in while receiving the caste letter. You should check your information correctly. Check information in a sense, your name, passport, course start date, program, everything you have to check it correctly. If it is any, you find any a wrong name or any misspelled or anything, you can always contact the university. Now coming into visa, when you are filing visa, there are certain fees. Visa fees when you are filing with VFS normally throughout India, the visa fees is around 348 pounds. A part of visa fees, you have to pay the IHS service, which is called as your immigration health service. That's around 300 pounds per year. Let's say a student, as a master student, you are going for 1 year study, so you have to pay 300 pounds. If you are going for 2 year study, 1 year study plus 1 year internship or 1 year sandwich placement, then in that case you have to pay 600 pounds. For undergraduate students, if they are going for 3 year study, they have to pay 3 years IHS fee, or a 4 year study, 4 years IHS fee. But there is a recent development on 11th of August. The news is that they are going to revise this IHS fees. Currently, it is 300 pounds, but from 1st of October, they are going to revise it to approximately 470 pounds per year. So this IHS, even though it is a little expensive, but there is no other way you have to pay. Even this IHS also applicable to dependent applications. Like husband is going and wife is a dependent, she has to pay also this IHS fees. So those students, those who are filing visas right now, let's say a few of you have already filed got your caste letter, you are planning to file your visa, it's advisable to file your visa before 1st of October because there will be a change of IHS fees. Now, this is one of the most important factor for most of the students. I would say, 90% student, this is most important. I guess all of you would have heard about this, the graduate route, which was recently announced by UK. See, earlier, when a student was going for studies, after their studies, they used to get around 4 to 6 months of time to stay back and find out a job. Now that thing has changed with a new rule called the graduate immigration route. Under this route, uh, a student who is going for undergraduate or a postgraduate or a PG, right? If they are going for any higher education provider university, after their studies, uh, uh, if their studies is completing after summer 21, in a sense, coming March, April 21, if they are completing after summer 21, they will be eligible to stay another 2 years to find out a job. That is the most important thing for most of the international students. Like everybody whosoever be it any country, they look at like after studies, what can we find out a job, can we get time to explore a job. So this is one of the most important declaration right now, wherein everybody who is gonna complete their studies after summer 2021, they are eligible to stay back in UK for another 2 years. Understand, this is for all undergraduate and postgraduate students, they can stay for 2 years. But for PhD student, this is for 3 years. They can stay back another 3 years. Okay. Now, when a student is filing visa, your visa is called as Tier 4 visa, or student visa is called as Tier 4 visa. So when you stay back another 2 years, or you are finding it out on a job in UK, that is called as Tier 2. So after your studies, you can stay another 2 years in UK to find out a job and to convert your visa from tier 4 to tier 2, right? See, I understand you, a lot of you must be having a lot of queries. We will be having a question answer session after this short, presentation. I understand we have a time constant here, but I'll try to, wrap it up early. It is almost done. Then we'll have a one-to-one, question answer. Probably I can take questions here. You can type your questions over there. It is quite not possible, not possible to put in all information in a PowerPoint presentation of half an hour, 45-minute session. But yes, we can take it. At the same time, I will write my contact details. I'll give you my contact details. I can be reached by phone or by WhatsApp also at any given point of time if you have any questions. Okay. The most important thing right now, I am sure in your mind is all about COVID-19, the current situation. Okay. See, in UK, if you have friends and or relatives, you can find it out. Universities are quite serious about this. They are particularly looking at the well-being of the international students. Most of the universities, even they are providing free of cost accommodation to the students as well. So this is a quite unexpected situation. I guess the situation by next intake, which is January, a lot as it is. Things have changed in UK. It's slowly getting towards normal. Everything is open right now. Students, those who have lost their part-time jobs during this pandemic, they have started applying. Few students have already got it. Markets are open right now slowly, so you can always explore it. And by January, I'm sure a lot of things will change. But still, universities are following. You can contact them directly. That is the information there in their website. They are following very strict measures. They are helping it out international students to come out of this situation. Yes, for our current situation, most of the universities, even considering this, there are no flights. Visa centers are few of the centers are yet to open. They went into hybrid teaching mode, wherein students, if they cannot fly it right now, they can take online teaching. After flights and visas and flights are available, they can go and join the universities. Yes, for this September 2020, few things they have made it mandatory, which was not earlier there. For all international students, once they travel to UK, there is no restrictions in terms of travel. They are not, there is no mandatory corona check. But yes, after you travel there, student, they need to go through a mandatory 14 days quarantine. Earlier, accommodation was not a mandatory thing. You can book it, you can stay anywhere. But now, accommodation is a must thing. That you have to declare before you fly. 48 hours before, you need to declare where you are going to stay. For a contact tracing, you need to fill up a form. So it is always advisable for students to fill the form. It is always advisable students to book their accommodation prior they fly to UK. Now, this is all about the whole thing. I'm sure this should have given you a lot of information. Um, but the two things what I would like to mention here, when I interact with a lot of students, they are quite not sure about their application. They are quite not sure about the universities which they are going to apply. See, I understand, when I interact with a lot of students, few of the students, they have a, huge backlogs. Backlogs in a sense, 15, 16 backlogs. They think that they cannot apply to top universities. But believe me, there are few universities which is probably in a, category of Russell Group, or probably in a category of under top universities, you can still apply. For applications, a few things that you need to take care. First thing, you need to, narrow your search. First, you have to find out what program you want to apply. Then it comes to location, which location you want to apply, be it London or out of London or anywhere place in UK. Then you can find out your budget. What is your range of your budget? Because every university has their own, range of budget. What budget basically you are looking at? Then you can shortlist your universities and you can apply those universities. But yes, one important thing that you need to look into: scholarships or bursaries or loans. That is one of the factors that you can always look into it. If you are applying early, for example, let's say you are talking about coming January intake, you can apply by the end of this month or in a September. If you are applying early, there are fair chances that you can get into some scholarship or you can get some bursaries as well. Okay. I'd like to take some questions, like, we can probably spend another 15-20 minutes we have. We can also spend some questions. We can answer some questions. If you have any questions, you can ask, you can, put your questions over here. I'll just read out and answer one by one. Okay, here Roshan, he has put in, I don't know much about the reputation of most British universities. How can I find the best university and course for me? Okay, Roshan, here, you can check it out. There are a lot of, even though British government, they don't have any particular ranking for their own universities, but there are a lot of third party, rankings you can get it. For example, I mentioned about QS ranking or Times ranking, you can find it out. The best thing about these rankings is there you can find out all parameter in a sense, like, number of faculties, publications, graduate employment ratio, everything is there. And uh, one thing that you have to consider, in particularly in UK, universities are known for a particular programs. Few universities, those who provide, very specific. If you are looking at a specific program, for example, like if you are a mechanical student and you are specifically looking some program into mechatronics or automotive, then there are universities, wherein specific or specified programs you can apply. So you can look out, you can search out, online. I'm sure you can find it out as per your profile. Same, Roshan, can I apply to more than one university of course in UK? Yes, you can apply. Even in one university, you can apply for two programs. So you can apply as much as universities. That is not advisable. That is the reason I mentioned to shortlist your universities and program. Then you can apply more than one. Uh, Obi Joshi, what are the top universities in UK? See, all Russell Group is itself top universities, 24 of top universities, but still, most of the others, during my presentation, I showed that in top 100, 17, 18 universities are featuring in top 100. So mostly are top universities you can consider as per your eligibility. How much bank balance is required for UK student visa? See, for UK student visa, uh, Roshan again, for UK student visa, you need to show your tuition fees, whatever is left out. Like, let's say, as you have paid 50% of your tuition fees, so 50% what is left out plus living expenses. Now, living expenses varies as per area. If you are in UK, you need to show 1,265 pounds per month. So per year, you have to multiply into 9. That is coming around 11,385. If you are applying out of UK, 1015 pounds per month. Per year it is coming around 9135 pounds. So your living expenses plus your rest of the tuition fees you need to show, for visa. And if you are showing as a fixed deposit or savings bank, it should be 28 days old fund. And you need to check it, the banks, normally all scheduled commercial banks are accepted, except cooperative or Grameen banks. What are the popular courses in UK? See, arts, humanities, science, all engineering courses are popular. The best part is all UK university provide all sort of programs. So it depends based on your profile. You can shortlist university and you can apply. Uh, Again, Roshan, can I study in UK without IELTS? Yes, very much. You can apply without IELTS as well. But if you check it, if you have a intermediate, in your English marks, if it is 70% and above, you can apply. Few universities, if you are less than, say, 70% also, they have certain criteria like pre-session English program, or you need to write some examination. Still, you can apply. Okay, what are the questions asked on UK student visa interview? Normally, in UK student visa interview, not much as of now. If you consider last two intake, there were no interview, but still, randomly they can take, an interview. Questions like why UK, why this program? If you have shortlisted that university, why that particular university? What are the modules you should be aware of? How it is going to be taught? Where exactly the university? How far it is from the city? What is the living expenses, how, why, on what parameters you have chosen this university? These are the basic questions, and this is quite expected. Like, when a student, you are applying a particular university, it is expected from a student that you would have done your homework. You would have gone through why what make you, applying that university. Okay. Again, Joshi, is the IELTS required for UK student visa? IELTS, no, it's not mandatory, but it all depends on the university. If your university require IELTS, yes, they will mention in the cast letter. If IELTS has been waived based on your English marks in intermediate, then the embassy doesn't require it. That will be waived up, and it is clearly mentioned in your cast letter. Okay. Can I study in UK? Yes, I have already answered, Roshan. You can study, in UK without IELTS, but it all depends on your English marks in intermediate. Okay. So, any more questions or any other topic? Any other area that you people want me to cover? Thank you so much, everybody, being giving your precious time here. If anything is there, I can be contacted further. Thank you. Thank you so much.